Whenever I put things off, I know deep inside that I'm sacrificing my future for present pleasures. It doesn't feel good once I start thinking of it. Yet, even though I'm aware of this, I still do it, going deeper into that rabbit hole of short-term instant gratification. It's like a drug that I know is bad for me, yet my cravings override my logical thinking. The abundance of distractions at our fingertips makes it easier to fall into this trap. Research shows that this irrational tendency of humans to procrastinate is still embedded in our genes, because thousands of years ago, when we were still hunter-gatherers, we don't think much about the future. All we care about was putting food in our bellies and surviving for the day. Now that we are living in a modern society, this short-term thinking most likely will not benefit us. For instance, if we drown ourselves in our social media feeds when we know that we have to finish a project and the deadline is due next week, we would not likely end up in a good situation if we continue on doing this. This hardwired tendency to prioritize short-term pleasures is one of the reasons why we tend to procrastinate. But there are different reasons why we like to put things off. One reason is because of our negative emotion. We get anxious about the negative emotions that we are going to experience when we think about doing a task. When we put off things, for example, exercising, it is our way of protecting ourselves because we imagine being exhausted from running or getting sore from lifting weights, and most of us don't want that feeling. We think of it as a monster that is very uncomfortable, so we stick to our bad habits that makes us feel safe. Even if we know that exercising is good for the body, most of us still not do it because we don't want to experience the pain of the process. Many of us dream of having a supermodel body, but sadly, only a few are willing to do the work to achieve it. I think the hardest step is to actually start doing that thing you need to do. Most of us overthink it, but once you start and place yourself in a position where the thing is in front of you and there is no choice for you but to do it, it's not going to be that bad once you're in it. Lack of time management is another one. We all have things to do, and to really be able to prioritize each task, we should be intentional about when and how much time we are going to spend on each of them. Randomly working on something without a definite schedule is going to delay other things on your list. Making a schedule can save you time. This is why I like to write them down or put them on my phone. Doing a mental note is not enough. We are thinking more than 6,000 thoughts a day, and there is a high probability that you will forget them, so writing them down is important if you want to get them done. This way, you will have a tangible thing that you can see to remind you about the things you need to do. It's also better to have well-defined goals than to have abstract ones. Many of us have vague goals, so we tend to procrastinate on these because we are not specific on what we want to achieve. And for one to achieve something successfully is to have a well-defined game plan. Instead of saying, I will start reading books, or I will transform my body, be specific and say, I will read 5 pages a day, or I will do 10 push-ups a day. This will likely make you do them because you have a definite blueprint of what to do rather than having unclear goals that will just lead you to procrastination and make you hate yourself more. You're going to beat yourself up and say things like, why am I like this? I hate myself. Each of us are capable of doing amazing things and we are all unique in some way. However, some of us beat ourselves up too much because of the challenges and unpleasant experiences we face in life. We may end up thinking that we're losers and we don't deserve good things. If you lack faith in your abilities, it can lead to feeling demotivated and cause you to procrastinate. We may think that we're not up for the task. Negative emotions and thoughts will keep us from doing whatever we need to do. We should learn to believe in ourselves and to start despite feeling this way. It's usually our mind that makes the task harder than it really is. If you ignore this thought and do it anyway, you will be in a far different and better place and realize that it's not that bad after all. So whenever you have to study for a test or finish an essay or finish a big presentation for work, Remember that your brain will tell you to avoid them and will give you thoughts about you being in discomfort, unless you're a workaholic. Being aware of this, you know that it's just your brain keeping you safe, and you know that not all things that our brain perceives as threats will do us harm. Pulling an all-nighter to finish a project may give us discomfort, but it's good if we want to be successful in our chosen careers. The grueling lifting of weights you do in the gym and the soreness of your muscles is not a pleasant feeling, but it will transform your body. So just start and ignore the excuses your mind tells you. Try this and see what happens. Spend about 15 minutes doing that thing you need to do, and be fully immersed in that task without any distractions. We all know how easy it is to get distracted by email or phones. In the middle of doing it, if you feel like still not doing it, stop and try again after, let's say, 1 hour. But most likely, once you start doing a task, you will keep working on it and realize that, oh, it's not as daunting as I imagined it to be. It's like when I plan to work out during the winter and it's too cold and I feel like not doing it. I force myself to go to the gym anyway, and after a set, I'm like, this actually feels good. Procrastination can be a real challenge, but with the right strategies, it's possible to overcome it. I think it's important to know thyself, to be self-aware and understand why we feel what we feel and why we act in a certain way if we want to improve ourselves. I used to be in a place where I was just living without wondering or questioning what motivates me to do things or think in a certain way. Understanding ourselves is helpful and will help us navigate this world and be more intentional about what we do. If you get some value from this video, please click or tap that like button and be part of the few. The goal of this channel is to find and educate like-minded people like you to be self-aware and to improve ourselves. My videos are basically me telling myself to improve because that's how we grow. Learning is a never-ending thing, and if you want to improve as a person, you have to accept your ignorance. You have to accept how little you know of this world, of yourself. So if you know anyone who can benefit from this, please do share this, and I'll see you on the next one.